you talk about the category of the apocryphal writings, what does that include? Where does that fit into the history of the period and of the Jewish approach to that?
Well, the first thing one has to understand is that despite what the rabbis said later on, there were numerous Jewish books circulating during the Second Temple period being read by Jews. Now, this group that we sort of call Group 2, apocryphal books, or apocryphal Bible-like books, etc., are books that we understand not to be limited to our sectarian group, but to be read more widely by Jews. This is supported by the fact that a small number of fragments of similar books have been found in Masada. And these are the works that the rabbis call Sfarim Chitzoniyim, which they're actually against reading on Shabbat, which gets into the question of whether or not they're against reading them at all, or only against reading them during the time when public lessons were going on in synagogues of Torah as the rabbis understood it. Now, one way or another, this term apocryphal has to be understood. What people have to know is that when the Greek Bible was somehow or another, and we don't really know how, bequeathed from the Jews to the Christians around the beginning of the Christian era, when that happened, so there came in its collection, either collected by Jews beforehand or by the earliest Christians, we don't know, there came a group of 12 books that are in that Old Testament, as the Christians call it, that are not in the Tanakh, the Hebrew Bible of the Jews. Now, these 12 books are all Jewish books. You have the Ben Sira, which is quoted by the Talmud. You have 1 and 2 Maccabees, and a bunch of other books, which are legitimate Jewish books from Second Temple times, some written, originally composed in Hebrew and translated into Greek, and we just don't have the Hebrew. Some, like Ben Sira, we have part of the Hebrew, including a very big Masada manuscript, some small Qumran manuscripts. Others that we don't really know, but Wisdom of Solomon, for example, is quoted by Nachmanides, the Ramban, in his introduction. So these books floated around somehow. Some have Geniza fragments in some kind of Hebrew forms, but they basically were preserved as part of what we could call the Christian Greek Bible and later Latin Bible. Now, of those books, a few of them are found among the Dead Sea Scrolls. But among the Dead Sea Scrolls, there's a much bigger list of books that look like biblical or quasi-biblical books, and some of them, which we only knew before from Greek or even Ethiopic. To give the Ethiopic example, Jewish Ethiopic, Gez, Semitic Ethiopic. So, well, it's not just Jewish, but it's the one that the Jews use for their holy text. Semitic Ethiopic preserved the Book of Jubilees and the Book of Enoch. And they are found, Enoch in Aramaic and Jubilees in Hebrew, these are apparently the original languages, at Qumran. Or Tobit, which is in the Apocrypha that's in every Catholic Bible. You know, this is funny, the Catholics have the Hanukkah story in their Bible, and the Jews don't. So anyhow, every Catholic has in his Bible the Book of Tobit. There are 2 manuscripts of Tobit in Aramaic at Qumran, probably the original, and 1 a Hebrew translation. So this is what we mean when we say apocryphal type books. But these were books widely read by Jews during the Second Temple period. Rabbinic literature was against these books. And somehow or another, they did not survive in Jewish hands, except in a few small cases. Ben Sira, as we mentioned, and there are others. But in the Middle Ages, some of them were retranslated back into Hebrew. Today, of course, they're all available, translated into Hebrew. So some people think that they have the originals. They don't. If you get a Hebrew copy of Maccabees, all you've got is a translation of Maccabees back into Hebrew. We don't have the originals, unfortunately.